guys, welcome to the Homestead. If you've been watching our videos in the past, you know that I'm a big fan of the Field Forest products, their mushroom products that they sell on that website, and they have a great catalog that they send out to anyone who requests one. Great company. We've used them before. We used them to grow our shiitake mushrooms on some of our logs here on the homestead, and we used them last year to grow some wine cap mushrooms that did pretty good last year. Hopefully this year they'll come back. But we're kind of reaching out, expanding out, and trying new things all the time. This year we're going to try some oyster mushrooms. So I ordered what's called a tabletop block, and I want you to check out how this is doing. It arrived about 2 weeks ago, and it says it takes between 7 and 14 days before it starts to do what's called pinning. And that's basically starting to fruit out the mushrooms. And so I wanted to show you this tabletop block, give you a close-up view of it, and then announce a winner at the end of this video to give one of you, the patrons, your own oyster mushroom tabletop block. So we'll send one out to a special winner of our patrons, our Crockett patrons, and so we'll send that out to you. At the end of the video, we'll call out the winner. Let's take a closer look at this block. Okay, so right now I have it sitting on my kitchen counter. There it is, and it's got its what's called a humidity tent on top of it, and that humidity tent keeps the humidity up inside around the block. And what I do is I take that little spray bottle there, and every so often, a couple times a day, I spray inside of this humidity block or this humidity tent and keep it moist in there. So it needs humidity in order to grow. And they give you the tent, obviously, when it comes with it, and they give you these little spikes, and you put the spikes in at different angles when you get the block, and that allows the tent to sit away from the block so it doesn't touch the sides of it. And then also they instruct you to cut slits inside of the block to allow the mushrooms to begin to fruit out. And we have that happening now. Let's take a closer look. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully remove this humidity tent and show you what's in front of the camera right now. This is the pinning. So we have a number of mushrooms coming out to say hello, and most of these will probably grow into full-size oyster mushrooms. And we also have some pinning on the other side here. See that? If you can see that real quick. Let me put the camera down right there. So these are growing, and also they're starting to pin and coming out of the mushroom block. Now it's been about 2 weeks. I'm going to go ahead and put the tent back on it. Now that the tent's back on, we've had this thing for about 2 weeks. It says in the instructions between 7 and 14 days for the pinning to start and the fruiting process to begin. And every so often, again, we start to take that spritz bottle and keep this moist. So this is where we are after about 14 days, 2 weeks or so. Let's see where we are next. Look at that. It's been about 17 days, and we have our first full flushes that are up and going. This one is about ready to be harvested, so we're going to probably pull these off today and eat them. And this one is growing really fast, and so hopefully we'll have those maybe in a day or so. There's also some pinning going on up top and on the back side here. Nothing really on this side yet, but it's definitely growing. Now what we're going to do on this is we're going to go ahead and harvest those, and I don't think I'm gonna, if these ones in the back pin, I may let those grow, but we'll see. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this block up, I'm gonna take it apart, and I'm gonna use the inside sawdust to inoculate other smaller bags that I have of sawdust and rice hulls, a 50-50 mix of sawdust and rice hulls. And then I'm gonna let those continue to grow, and hopefully those bags will be inoculated, and within maybe a few weeks or so, they will be able to fruit and produce more mushrooms. So I'm going to see if I can do that. I'm having a little bit of an issue, I think, with humidity because we're off grid and we have a wood stove going, and so it's keeping the humidity very low. And so I have to continue to spritz these with like a water spritz bottle, probably 3 or 4 or 5 times a day, just to keep it moist, keep the block moist. And so I don't know how this is going to work long term when summer comes and the temperatures in the house get in the 80s, 90 degrees. And I think you can grow the fungus in those temperatures. However, it allows bacteria and other things to grow too. So I'm going to experiment with some Nixol and some other things to keep the bacteria low, maybe some lime, and see how that works. However, I can also research different tropical strains of mushrooms to grow in higher heat and see what kind of success we get with those. So the goal is, if you've been watching us for any amount of time, you know that we grow different types of mushrooms on the homestead: shiitakes, wine caps, and now oysters. And I'd like to figure out a way to continue to grow different kinds of mushrooms just for our own consumption on the homestead, so we have a regular harvest of these things throughout the year. And there's some really great channels out there. Folks, you know, everyone's always asking, it's one of the biggest questions we get about homesteading is how to have a sustainable homestead where I can have a business on my homestead. And I think I'm too far away from a city. But if I was closer to a city where I could make the drive, I would absolutely open up a mushroom growing business, because there are really easy ways to set it up. It's a lot of work. The channels that are out there on YouTube will give all kinds of great examples and great videos on how to do this. They admit that it's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding work, and that you'll have lots of customers either at farmers markets or individually selling to restaurants or supermarket grocers. So you can make money on a homestead by growing mushrooms, different strains, shiitake and oysters especially, and sell those as a business. So check out those. There's great channels called Myers Mushrooms, What the Fungus, and also Angel Earth Mushrooms is a great channel that we're going to be visiting with probably on my trip to St. Louis here very shortly, because he's just outside St. Louis in Pacific, Missouri. So we're going to stop by that, and I'll bring you along for those, and we'll do stories on that and kind of give you an idea of the visit over at Earth Angel Mushrooms. But this is our first flush. It turned out great. So now the giveaway. The giveaway, we're going to give out a block of these to 2 of our patrons. The first one is going to go out to Aaron Laird. I pulled his name out. He's been a longtime contributor of our homestead. Excellent patron, so thank you very much, Aaron. You're getting one of these blocks. And also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a post on Patreon when I post this video, and then the people who comment, because not everyone likes mushrooms, but if you like mushrooms, leave a comment, and of the people who comment, of those list of people who comment, I will pick a winner. Okay? All right, guys. What do you think about that? See you next time on the homestead.